Hey, what is up, guys? Blunt Guts here. This is a Watcher of Realms video. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel on what has turned out to be just a very disappointing weekend for yours truly, for many of you as well, based on what I've heard. So many of you may have seen the video that I did post yesterday, where I showed my Sun Wukong summons. There's a lot of them, 1,500 summons I did. Almost a 40-minute video. So those of you that did watch really any of that, honestly, I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for doing that. But unfortunately, it left a really salty taste in my mouth because 1,500 summons. I pulled 13 different legendaries on this banner. I was so excited about Sun Wukong. If you've watched my channel at all, you know I put out a ton of content on him over the past couple weeks, and I've been hyping him up. I've been hyping him up like crazy, and it was very, very disappointing to me because I only pulled one extra copy of Sun Wukong. I, of course, got the guaranteed copy that you get at 200 summons. However, I only pulled one more copy out of those additional 12 legendaries that I did pull. So 13 legendaries total. The guaranteed, obviously, I'm not going to count that, but 12 non-guaranteed legendaries in 1,500 summons is phenomenal rates at the end of the day. And honestly, the hero quality was really good too. I got an Arrogance, I got a Phineas, I got a Twyla, I got a bunch of heroes that I wanted. I pulled a Lord, it was ours, so, you know. But still, I pulled a Lord, and there were some really good heroes in that. So I don't want this to come off as me just complaining about the pulls that I got. I had great rates. I got some really good heroes. But I wasn't pulling on this banner. I didn't save all my summons to pull those heroes. I saved my summons to pull on this banner to give myself a shot at getting just not even 2 A5, but just sniffing A5. A3, A2, something like that. 1,500 summons, I ended up with A1. So 12 non-guaranteed legendaries in 1,500 summons. That is one legendary every 125 summons. Longer on average, you should really only be getting one legendary on the banner every, let's say, like 190 or so summons. Used to be one every 200. You've got a 0.5% chance per summon that you do pull to get a legendary. They moved the pity timer up to start at 180 summons, which has skewed the results a little bit, but you still should not be getting one legendary hero every 125 summons. Those are great rates, and I have no complaints about that. Now, one Sun Wukong out of 12 legendaries pulled on the banner is a rate of 8.3%. 8.3%. Now, if you further break that down and you think to yourself, okay, but this is a 15x rate up on Sun Wukong, so that 8.3% rate should be 15 times whatever his base rate is, which, by the way, is a little meaningless considering he's literally only available on this banner. But if we divide 8.3% by 15, we get a rate of approximately 0.55%, meaning that if he was on a regular banner, he would be the legendary hero that you pulled once every 200 legendary heroes. That puts him basically on par with Hatsa as far as the rareness of the hero. Now, he's really good, and maybe he deserves to be that low. I'm not necessarily saying that he's not. But what I am saying is that this is extremely disappointing at a time of year when you should be really giving back to your community. And you know, if it was just me, I would move on. I think at the end of the video, I said, you know, I will move on with my life. I will, I'm not going to let myself stress about this. And, you know, I do care about this game. I care a lot about the results that I get. I put a lot of time and effort into it. So I do care quite a bit about my account. And so I was very disappointed in this. But what really shocked me was after I posted my video yesterday, the overwhelming response from the community. One, thank you all so much for the commiseration and the support. I do appreciate that. It was really nice to hear from everybody, you know, giving me their condolences after they saw my disappointment in that video. But what really kind of caught my attention was that so many people were saying that they had the same experience. They pulled a lot of summons. They didn't get, they got one or no extra copies of Sun Wukong, talking about how their guildmates or their friends had pulled and had similar results. Now, of course, there were some outliers. There's some people that told me that they had pulled, you know, 400 summons, that they got them to A4 and stuff like that, you know, which is fine. RNG is a thing. What I am trying to hone in on, though, in this video is I would like to ask for your assistance in trying to figure out exactly what the rate was. I have watched a bunch of other summoning videos from content creators. On the whole, everybody had very similar luck to me. I just watched Ivy's video. She pulled 1,300 summons. Excuse me, not Ivy, Susie. Susie Plays video. She just pulled 1,370, I think was her number. And she got 0 extra copies of Sun Wukong. So she just got the guaranteed copy of him, which is rough. I know that I watched Jake Smash's video yesterday, he pulled, I think, 2,000 summons. I think he said he pulled another 500 off camera afterwards as well, and he didn't get any extra copies of Sun Wukong. I just don't understand what the idea behind this is from Moonton's perspective. So, a little bit of background on this. We have not had any kind of insight into exactly what the internal rates are for the specific heroes for months at this point. This right here is the information that we currently have as far as the drop rates for heroes in this game. Looking at this, I think initially you would think that every single hero that appears underneath this 0.46, all these legendaries, these non-lord legendaries that are in this pool would have the same chance, a 0.46 chance to be pulled on any single summon. But we know from experience and from other testing that has been done, other studies that have been done in the past, that is not the case, that there are different pull rates for all of these different heroes. They fit into different buckets. Hatsa is kind of alone in her own bucket where she has just ultra rare rates, I guess, because of the perceived power level of Hatsa. That is why they placed her that way. And I guess they've done the same thing with Sun Wukong, it seems like, based on this. But the question then is, what does this really mean at the end of the day? Sun Wukong is not on any other banner. He is only on this banner, right? So saying that he has a 15x rate up chance is kind of disingenuous, right? Because there is no base chance for him. This is his only rate up chance. We don't know what it is. We have no transparency on the rates. We all went in with faith that if you put a bunch of summons in, that you would have a decent chance of getting him. Personally, I feel like my results, 1 in 12, is not a decent chance. If you were to put a monetary value on 1,500 rare summons, I mean, based on their values, it would be somewhere between, I would say, $1,000 at the low end, like at the most efficient, the lowest price rare summons that they sell, up to about $1,500. And I think on average, you're typically looking at about $1 per rare summon is what they charge for people. So I can't tell you how irate I would be if I had spent $1,500 or even $1,000 for that matter on this game, and with the expectation that I would have a decent chance at pulling a bunch of copies of this hero 2 days after Christmas, by the way. I would be just beyond distraught if I had spent that kind of money. I know that some of you have, because some of you have chimed into my comments. I know that some of you have talked about previous experiences that you had where you spent heavy and then didn't get what you wanted, and that has prevented you from spending on banners like this from that point forward. So, yeah. Ultimately, though, the only data set that I have really taken any time to analyze is my own. These 1,500 summons that I do have. Now, we've got some other content creators that have had horrible rates as well, that I just mentioned. I mentioned Susie Plays. I also mentioned Jake Smash. Now I'm going to ask for your guys' help here. I need more data so that I can try to figure out exactly what his rate is so that we can set expectations, not just for him, but for other limited heroes in the future as well. I think that, ultimately, what we really should get is Moonton should just be transparent about the rates, especially if they are going to do something that is clearly this 15x is just a marketing ploy. It doesn't really mean anything. Like I said before, this is his only banner. So his rate is this rate. This is his base rate. There is no, you didn't multiply anything by 15. If you did, it was an arbitrary number that you picked. So this is his rate, whatever it is on this banner. We can expect it to be the same going forward unless they change it and they don't tell us about it and blah, 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 blah. So really what should happen is Moonton should be transparent about their rate. So I need your help. I want to hone in on exactly what the rate for Sun Wukong is on this banner. I've got my own data. I mentioned a couple of other creators. I have seen their videos. I will, of course, incorporate that into this overall kind of data set. But the more data I can get, the more compelling the evidence will be that whatever rate I do arrive at will be accurate. So here is what I'd ask of you. If you could, please send me a DM on Discord. I will put my handle up on the screen right here, but it is @BluntGuts. You can send me a DM. I will try to reply to everybody. I can't guarantee that I will, though. Hopefully, I'm getting a lot of responses, and I will do my best. But what I need, if you are going to submit something to me, I need screenshots. So what I don't want is people sending me a message saying I pulled 10 legendaries and one of them was Sun Wukong. I need to be able to verify that this is actually what happened. And I'm not saying that anybody would be lying or anything like that, but I want the data to be as valid as possible. So if it's not something you can do, that's okay. Now, one thing that I will say, this summoning record only goes back 300. So I pulled 1,500 summons yesterday. That means that 80% of the summons that I pulled yesterday are not going to show up in this record. Now, I have video evidence, obviously, but you do not. So, do the best that you can. If you pulled more than 300 summons on that, send me the last 300 that you can show there. I will go through it. I will parse the data, and I will figure out exactly what the rate was for you individually. I will incorporate that into the larger data set. But the more people that I have contributing to this, the more accurate the data will be. But my hope is that at the very least, this is going to inform us going forward when we do have these limited banners where they say, 15x rate up, and we have no base rate to compare that to. Truth be told, this has soured me on the whole limited banner experience here. It really does suck. I think that most of you can probably relate to this. Those of you that had bad pulls anyway can relate to this. That many of us did save up a lot for this, and they have kind of concentrated their most powerful heroes in the exclusive banners as well as on the ancient summons, and so you're kind of stuck if you don't spend a lot. But typically in these games, my experience in the past has been that if you target a certain hero and you save up for them and you kind of overspend your resources, not money, but your resources on those heroes, that you can shift the odds in your favor. You can give yourself the best chance to end up getting something that will be impactful for your account. And I think many of us on a holiday weekend where it is the season of giving, and all that, feel as though we got shortchanged. We were sold a bill of goods, and that sucks for the player base, especially kind of in the wake of the summoning issue that Fastidious brought to everybody's attention a month or two ago. You'd think they would want to be doing things to kind of engender good feelings in their player base, not resentment. But it is what it is. So thank you in advance if that is something you can do. Please do send me screenshots if you can. I will do a follow-up video in a few days, and hopefully I will be in a spot where I can give you some kind of rate to put on this, hopefully before the banner is off, so that people can make decisions. Thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Thank you in advance for any help that you can provide. And let's hone in this rate. Let's educate ourselves so that we can go forward and be aware of what our expectations should be on future exclusive banners. Please do like and subscribe. I will catch you all next time.